Hello there. This lesson is entitled 1-1 Expressions and Formulas. I didn't write the title on the first page because I'm using the same screen for a different class, and so I didn't want to have to rewrite it if it was the same information. But I'm telling you that as far as your notes, if you want to write down the section, this is 1-1, and the title of the section is Expressions and Formulas. And what you see up here is something you're probably already familiar with, and that is PEMDAS. And so you need to write this down in your notes so that you have it for quizzes and tests and stuff. So just want to recap really quickly. Parentheses mean that you evaluate all the expressions or any expressions that are inside grouping symbols. That can be parentheses, brackets, even a square root symbol, or even a division bar. Exponents, you evaluate all powers. Please remember that with multiplication and division, you can multiply and or divide from left to right, so whichever comes first. So just because you see multiplication first and then division, that's just to make the acronym sound good. I think it would be weird if it was PEDMAS. But anyway, just so that you know that you can do multiplication or division in any order as long as you go from left to right as you're reading the expression. And the same is true for addition and subtraction. You can do either one out of the order here. You can do subtraction first if you want to, or not if you want to, but if it comes first from left to right as you're reading the expression. So if you will pardon me as I advance a few slides that are not part of Algebra 2, so do not write this part. This is the Algebra 2 part. And so our first example is evaluate m plus the quantity p minus 1 squared if m equals 3 and p equals 4. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and say that m equals 3 and p equals -4. So we're going to rewrite the expression replacing those letters, those variables, with what they are equivalent to. So instead of an m, I'm going to put 3. And instead of a p, I'm going to put -4 minus 1 quantity squared. And according to PEMDAS, we want to do whatever is inside the grouping symbols. So right here, inside the grouping symbols, which is -4 minus 1. And -4 minus 1 is -5. And that's squared. And then we have this 3 plus going on in the front. So then the next thing we want to do is exponents. So -5 times -5 is positive 25. And then we have 3 plus 25, so our final answer is 28 for example 1. Now what I'd like for you to do is your do-it-yourself questions, A and B. And if you need more time, you can pause the video and you can finish those up. Make sure you have them in your notes for the next class period. Our second example, it's a very short lesson today. We only have 2 examples. This is our last example. Our second example has a part A, part B, but very similar. You have A equals 5, B equals -3.2. So again, I'm going to go to my expression, and instead of the A, I'm going to replace the A with a 5. I'm going to replace the B with a -3.2, and because it's negative, I'm going to put it in parentheses, and that was blue, correct? We're going to color code here. So, and then we have parentheses B, which is again -3.2. minus A, which was 5. Okay, so that's what we've done. We had 2 places where the B was, so we've replaced the B twice. 2 places where the A was in the expression, so we've replaced both A with 5. And now we're just going to go ahead and simplify our answer. Again, we want to start with parentheses first, grouping symbols first. There's nothing to do inside of these grouping symbols, that's just a number. But over here we can. So -3.2 minus 5 is going to be -8.2. And then we're going to have that be multiplied by, the next thing we have to do is exponents. So we're going to do negative 3.2. I'm not going to pretend I know what that is. But negative 3.2 squared is 10.24. So that's going to be 10.24 times the negative 8.2. And I'm going to get, because again what we're doing here is that we now have, I should have rewritten this guy. A lot of times people try to add these things first, but again I want to remind you that PEMDAS says parentheses we did, exponents we did. The next step is multiplication or division. So this addition does not come before the multiplication. So we need to multiply these two here, these two right there, and 10.24 times hold on. Sorry, I'm trying to get this into my calculator here. 10.24 times negative 8.2 is actually roughly negative 83.968. And then of course you had your 5 plus a negative. So when you have 5 plus a negative, in this case the negative is a lot bigger than the positive, so our final answer will be negative. And it's going to be negative 78.968. I'm not really sure how many decimal places they want us to go to, but they put all three, so we're just going to leave it like that. All right, so that's how you do part A, and then we're going to do something very similar with part B. So we're going to say, in this case, let's do W equals 4, X equals negative 3, and in orange, Y equals negative 5. So you know the drill. We're going to come over here, instead of X, we're going to put negative 3. So we're going to come over here, again, because it's negative, I'm going to use parentheses. So I'm going to get negative 3 to the 4th power minus 3. And then we got W. I'm going to use parentheses for my W and my Y. W is 4, and Y is negative 5. So that's what's going to go on the top. On the bottom I have Y again, which again was negative 5. Cubed plus 2W. So we're going to put the negative 5 in there. And W was 4. So we put negative 3 in the X's place right here. We put 4 in the W's place, both here and here. And we put negative 5 in the Y's place, both here and there. And now we are going to, and so I was saying earlier that sometimes grouping symbols can become division bars because it separates the top from the bottom and keeps this top part as a group. So we're going to start with the top, and we have some exponents in there. So we're going to have negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9, but positive 9 times negative 3 is going to be negative 27, and then negative 27 times one more negative 3 is going to give you a positive 81. So that negative 3 to the 4th power is positive 81. And in general, when you have a negative to an even power, it's going to be positive. If you have a negative to an odd power, it's going to be negative. Our next step is not subtraction, so don't try to subtract the 3 right now. Our next step is to do multiplication and or division from left to right. So we're going to have to multiply 3 times 4, which is 12, and then we still have the negative 5 there. Okay? On the bottom, we have negative 5 times negative 5, which is positive 25, and then positive 25 times negative 5 is negative 125. And again, you see how I was telling you earlier that if you have a negative and it's an odd power, you're going to end up with a negative 125 as opposed to a positive 125. And then, of course, we have our multiplication from left to right. In the bottom, we only have one multiplication, so we don't have to worry about doing which one first. But it's, again, don't add the 2. You want to go 2 times 4 is 8. You want to do the multiplication before the addition. All right, so now on top, we have one more issue where you've got 12 times negative 5. So that's actually going to be 60. 12 times 5 is 60. It is a negative, so it's going to be negative 60. So then we're going to have 81 minus negative 60. Whenever you have a minus negative, it's actually a plus. So it's going to be 81 plus 60 on the top, and negative 125 plus 8 on the bottom, which is negative 117. And the 81 plus 60 is 141. So our final answer is 141 over negative 117. It doesn't really matter where you put the negative, either on top or on the bottom. You just can't put it in both spots. Sometimes people put it out in the front. I don't really have space for that, so I left it on the bottom. You should also try to check if your fraction is reducible. You all have calculators that can do that. 141 divided by 117. If you put the fraction mode on your calculator, you will actually end up with a final answer of negative 47 over 39. So again, this is acceptable, putting the negative out in front, or you can put it on the top or on the bottom. Just don't put it on top and the bottom at the same time, because of course a negative divided by negative is a positive, and the answer is not positive, it is a negative. So the last thing you need to do are these do-it-yourself examples, A, B, and C, with these values, h equals 4, j equals negative 1, and k equals 0.5. And once you have completed those examples, you will have completed this lesson, and I will see you in class. Thank you.